صوتنا في العالم. مع إذاعة الجزائر الدولية لن تفوتكم لحظة واحدة من الأخبار السياسية والاقتصادية الهامة. إذاعة الجزائر الدولية صوتنا في العالم.
With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf has received his Bahraini counterpart, who is now on an official visit to Algeria. And the heads of state and government of the Islamic Cooperation Organization have hailed Algeria's efforts in favor of the Palestinian cause, expressing their support for constant efforts of the Algerian president. And the leaders of Muslim countries welcomed the holding of the consultative meeting, which brought together in Tunis the leaders of Algeria, Tunisia and Libya, describing it as a reflection of their common will to strengthen regional consultations and coordination. And as the Palestinian presidency has warned that the attack of the Israeli occupation are preparing to launch on Rafah will lead to a genocide, several areas of Gaza's southern town were hit by the Israeli bombardments. Those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. Good afternoon. Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Ahmed Attaf has received his Bahraini counterpart Abdulatif bin Rashid Zayani, who is now on an official visit to Algeria. And Miriam Barshi has the details.
Mr. Attaf said the visit of his Bahraini counterpart to Algeria comes as part of the tradition of consultation and coordination, shedding light on the importance of the upcoming Manana summit amid the current challenges facing the Arab region.
This visit comes as part of the tradition of consultation and coordination, which must be strengthened and implemented, notably ahead of the important meetings and deadlines to be met in the upcoming days. There is no doubt that the upcoming Arab summit to be held in Manama constitutes the most important regional event, which requires constant communication and continued coordination. It also requires pooling all necessary efforts to bring together the conditions and elements to ensure the success of this historic event. Thus, the summit of Manama will take place amid an extremely sensitive, complex and dangerous context for our Arab nation in general and for our central cause, the Palestinian cause in particular.
The Algerian diplomacy chief strongly highlighted the seriousness of the situation in the Gaza Strip and the blatant will of the Israeli occupation to eradicate the Palestinian issue, expressing hope that the Manana summit will contribute to strengthening the unity of the Arab nation.
In Algeria, we are deeply convinced that this cause goes through today the most difficult and critical phase of its history in light of the ongoing Israeli aggression against our brothers in the Gaza Strip and the rest of the occupied Palestinian territories. It has become obvious to all that the Israeli aggression aims implicitly and explicitly at liquidating the Palestinian cause and eliminating the national project associated with it. From this perspective, and we expect that the summit of Manama contributes to strengthening the unity of the Arab nation and consolidating its ranks so that our nation can play the role assigned to it. On the other hand, I hope that we can today seize this opportunity to examine the different facets of our bilateral relations and work together on finding ways and means to strengthen and widen them to include other fields that are more important and beneficial to both our countries and peoples and to our unifying Arab belonging.
Bahrain's Foreign Minister Abdulatif bin Rashid Al Zayani, for his part, said his visit to Algeria is an opportunity to discuss the roadmap of the summit, which is to be held amid special exceptional conditions.
I would like, on the occasion of my visit, to convey the greetings of His Majesty the King and His Highness the Crown Prince, President of the Council of Ministers, to the Algerian President, people, and to Your Excellency. I aspire with today's talks to hold consultations on the road map of the summit, which is to be held in exceptional conditions. We look forward for the visit of His Excellency President Abdelmadjid Tebboune to participate alongside his brothers, Their Majesty, Excellency and Highness Arab leaders in this important summit. God willing, together we will deliver a message of cooperation and solidarity amid the context and circumstances of this summit. We hope that the summit's message meets the expectations of the Arab nation.
Meanwhile, Bahrain's visiting official affirmed after visiting the Algiers Great Mosque that it reflects the progress and development achieved by Algeria, as well as the interest she grants to religion and to the promotion of the culture of peace, tolerance and coexistence.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. The 15th summit of the Islamic Cooperation Organization has wound up in Gambia by the adoption of the final communique of the summit and the approval of a decision regarding the Palestinian cause. The heads of state and government of the Islamic Cooperation Organization have hailed the efforts of Algeria in favor of the Palestinian cause, expressing their support for constant efforts of the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, in favor of Palestinian cause. During the 15th summit of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, participating leaders also commended the holding of the Conference for the Unification of Palestinian Ranks in Algeria, describing it as a positive step towards Palestinian national unity, which was crowned by the Algiers Declaration on October 12, 2022. They also praised Algeria's efforts at the Security Council with the aim of stopping the criminal aggression committed by the Israeli occupation in Gaza, and which resulted in the adoption of Resolution 2728 that calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Meanwhile, leaders of Muslim countries commended the holding of the consultative meeting, which brought together in Tunis leaders of Algeria, Tunisia and Libya. The final communique also hailed the common will of the leaders of the three countries to intensify consultations and coordination with the view to consolidate security, stability and promote progress in the region, and express their determination to strengthen cooperation exchange, particularly regarding the phenomena of terrorism, human trafficking, drug trafficking and organized crime. And meanwhile, the heads of state and government of the Islamic Cooperation Organization congratulated Algeria for the inauguration of the Algiers Grand Mosque, the third largest mosque in the world, describing it as a center of spiritual influence and an excellent religious, scientific, cultural and tourist institution. The final communique of the summit praised the role of Jami' al-Jazair, or the Algiers Grand Mosque, in the promotion of the authentic values of Islam, notably tolerance, moderation and the culture of living together in peace, in addition to its role in the promotion of dialogue among civilizations and the establishment of strong links at the international level. And meanwhile, Prime Minister Nadil Arbawi has discussed in Gambia with the Vice President of the Libyan Presidential Council, Musa Al-Kouni, bilateral relations and the latest developments in Libya. He also met with other officials. Let's listen to this report by Mariam Barshi.
This came on the sidelines of the 15th summit of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, at which Mr. Arbawi represented the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune. Mr. Al-Kouni praised Algeria's constant support to efforts in favor of a lasting political solution capable of preserving the unity and sovereignty of Libya and of meeting the aspirations of the Libyan people to restore security and stability, while calling on the Algerian President to continue his efforts aimed at sparing Libya of any foreign interference. Regarding the current regional situation, the two parties held the holdings of the consultative meeting that gathered the leaders of Algeria, Libya and Tunisia in Tunis last month, reaffirming the attachment to this tripartite framework, which serves the interests of the three countries bound by borders of common interests. Meanwhile, the Algerian premier met with the president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaro Sissoko Embalo, who reaffirmed his continued effort to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries in light of the importance of fruitful discussions which took place during his visit to Algeria in August 2022. Mr. Nader Harbawi met with the chairman of the African Union, Moussa Faki Mohamed, with whom he discussed the latest developments in terms of international and regional relations and ways and means to continue efforts aimed at strengthening African solidarity and support for the Palestinian cause. The two parties also exchanged views on the main developments at the African level and the future prospects of the African Union.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International and to the Palestinian Authority issue now, as the Palestinian presidency has warned that the attack the Israeli authorities are preparing to launch on Rafah will lead to a genocide. Several areas of Gaza's southern town were hit by Israeli bombardments. The Palestinian presidency spokesman Nabil Abu Rudaina was quoted by the news agency Wafa as saying that the U.S. administration that provides Israel with financial and military support is responsible for its dangerous policies. He blamed the United States of opposing the international community to prevent the implementation of international legality and to stop the Israeli occupation from pursuing its acts of aggression against the Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank. In this respect, the Palestinian presidency called on the United States to take action rapidly to prevent an Israeli incursion into Rafah from turning into a genocide and a displacement of the population against which they have been warning. In a similar move, the Palestinian Hamas movement said that the preparations undertaken by the Israeli army ahead of an assault on Rafah were yet an evidence of Israeli premier to carry on with the crimes deliberately targeting Palestinian civilians. And back to the country, the industry minister, Mr. Ali Aoun, has received here in Algiers the chairman of the board of directors of Qatar's Chamber of Commerce, Sheikh Khalifa bin Jassim Al Thani. During the meeting attended by the Qatari ambassador to Algiers, the two officials examined ways and means to strengthen bilateral cooperation and partnership in the sector. And the Secretary General of the National Liberation Front FLN, Abdelkrim Ben Mbarak, has said from Tamanrasset, the southern part of Algeria, that the party will take part in the next presidential elections as a united front. During a regional meeting attended by executives, elected representatives and party activists from different provinces, he underlined the following, and he pointed out that the forthcoming election is an important milestone, which is part of a forward-looking vision for the country and constituted a new gateway that would enable the people to embark on a new stage based on the genuine statehood foundations. He also affirmed that his party would provide all necessary support to ensure the success of the event, calling on the various political allegiances to participate massively so as to thwart the various plots hatched against Algeria. The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, has received in Algiers the Executive Vice President of the Norwegian Energy Group, Equinor, Philippe Mathieu, examined the prospects for expanding the group's activity in Algeria. A communique issued by the ministry indicated that during the meeting, which took place in the presence of the CEO of Sonatrach and members of the Executive Board of the Norwegian Group, the two parties examined the bilateral cooperation in the field of energy, particularly in terms of exploration and production of hydrocarbons. In Algeria, expressing their satisfaction at the excellent partnership between Sonatrach and Equinor, in particular in Ain Saleh and other southern parts of the country. On the occasion, investment opportunities and the expansion of partnership between Algerian and Norwegian groups were examined, as well as the exchange of experiences and knowledge in related areas such as the development of oil fields, reducing the environmental impact of the fossil fuel industry, carbon emissions, carbon capture and storage. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and the parliamentary delegation of the Council of the Nation is taking part in the Forum of the Mediterranean and Middle East of the Parliamentary Assembly of the NATO, which started today in Rome, Italy. The parliamentary delegation is headed by the chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation at the Council of the Nation, Mohamed Amroun. The participants to the forum, which will last 2 days, will discuss several issues, notably the security challenges in the Sahel region and in North Africa, as well as cooperation with the countries of the Global South in terms of climate change and immigration, the role played by NATO, and the impact of conflicts on the Mediterranean region and the Middle East, besides the common socio-economic challenges such as energy, food security, climate change, and migration. And to Western Sahara now, addressing the national and international press in the refugee camp of Auserd at the end of the International Film Festival, the President of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic and Secretary General of the Polisario Front, Brahim Ghali, has reiterated the Sahrawis' determination to carry on the fight for independence.
We will continue the struggle until we fully defend our rights to freedom, defend our land and resources by using all the possible and legal means. Directly after November 13, we considered our water and Sahrawi region as war zone.
And evoking Spain's turnaround regarding Western Sahara issue, President Ghali said the following.
The Prime Minister is incapable of uttering a single word to the Moroccan regime, and this is another reason why we, the Spanish people and others, are once again looking for the secret behind this turnaround. Why this denial of the historic Spanish position? Why this submission to the Moroccan blackmail?
And that was a statement of Sahrawi President Brahim Ghali. The chairman of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mohamed, has condemned the bombing of the camps of the displaced people in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And Majid Mila has the details.
In a press release, the chairman deplored the continuing escalation of violence in all its forms in eastern DRC, where several armed groups operate, reiterating the African Union position in favor of a comprehensive political solution to peace and security challenges in the region. He recalled that such violence ran counter the letter and spirit of the conclusion of the Luanda ministerial meeting held on March 21st, 2024, which called for a complete and immediate ceasefire in the country. Mr. Faki reaffirmed his support to the Luanda and Nairobi processes paved the way for a lasting peace in eastern DRC as well as in the Great Lakes region.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, 14 hours 47 minutes, Algiers time. And here in Algiers, the Minister of Trade and Export Promotion, Mr. Tayyib Zitouni, stressed that Algerian cement exports continue to rise, reaching $747 million in 2023, adding that the rise translated the dynamic nature of the building materials sector in Algeria in recent years. The details with Mariam Barshi.
In a statement made to the press outside the International Exhibition Trade Fair for Building, Construction, Materials and Public Works, Batimatech 2024, now taking place in Algiers, the minister stressed that Algerian cement exports did not exceed $60 million in 2019, before reaching $747 million in 2023, thanks to the increase in national production capacity for such a strategic material. He added that Algeria is the second world's largest exporter of clinker, a product used in the manufacture of cement, after Vietnam, with a total value estimated at $438.48 million, stressing the need to move from exporting clinker as a raw material to exporting cement exports. Let's recall that the 26th edition of the International Exhibition Trade Fair for Building, Construction, Materials and Public Works, Batimatech 2024, is taking place in Algiers with the participation of over 900 exhibitors, including 600 national exhibitors.
You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and that's it for our news bulletin. I invite you now to listen to our economic program, compiled and presented by Said Bouazi.
Hello and welcome to our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. First in the news, the Minister of Energy and Mines Mohamed Arkab has received in Algiers the Italian Prime Minister's diplomatic advisor in charge of the Mattei plan, Fabrizio Saggio, with whom he examined ways of strengthening bilateral cooperation in the field of energy and mines. During the meeting, the two parties reviewed the status and prospects for the development of cooperation and partnership relations between the two countries, described as excellent in the field of energy and mining. The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, has received the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian mining company Teramin, Feng Sheng, as part of the ongoing monitoring of the project to exploit the Tela Hamza Amizur zinc-lead deposit in the province of Bijaya. During the meeting, the two parties expressed their satisfaction at the results achieved on this project, which is the fruit of cooperation between Sonarem and Teramin, and discussed ways of strengthening this cooperation to include other mining projects in Algeria in the future, given the level of relations and trust between the two groups. The Minister of the Knowledge Economy, Startups and Micro-Enterprises, Yassin Al-Mahdi Walid, has stressed the need to manage the National Agency for the Management of Microcredit, ANGEM, according to a new vision based on economic performance. In a speech delivered at a ceremony honoring the agency's employees on the occasion of World Labour Day, Yassin Al-Mahdi Walid said that the progress made by ANGEM, which has financed 900,000 beneficiaries since its creation, requires a new vision of its management based on economic performance, the sustainability of employment positions, and its role as a support for entrepreneurs. More in our program. The Minister of Hydraulics, Taha Dirbel, has said in Algiers that it is essential to make the most of the state's efforts and the volume of investment made in the water sector by ensuring a stable and regular public water service. Speaking at a national meeting of executives from Algerian des Eaux to mark the 23rd anniversary of its creation, Taha Dirbel said that the management of the public water service in our country, with its vast extent, requires the vigilance and perseverance of everyone in order to provide a public service that meets the expectations of citizens who expect a lot from us to ensure a permanent and regular water supply. The local development bank BDL intends to launch electronic payment or e-payment on an international scale, enabling purchases to be made on Algerian websites and electronic payments to be made from abroad, a manager from this public bank said in Algiers. Nawal Talib, director of e-payment development at the BDL, told APS that the bank had made considerable progress with this project, stressing that this service is the first of its kind in Algeria. Since the beginning of 2024, the National Conservatory of Environment Training has trained, coached and accompanied more than 500 project leaders in the field of the environment, notably waste recovery, said the acting director of this establishment, Mrs. Ashur Hayat. She added that composting, which consists of transforming organic waste into natural fertilizer, and landscaping are two emerging fields in which demand is growing. And to wrap it up, the national company Air Algérie has announced the opening of online bookings for the Ostra family offer, which provides reductions on international flight fares for the benefit of Algerian families. The Ostra family offer enables round-trip travel with at least one family member at an exceptional price during the next summer season on Air Algérie flights operating from 1st June to 30th September 2024, provided that tickets are purchased before 31st August. And with this, we come to the end of our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. Goodbye.
Welcome to